The heart of the sling is a ring. These rings are made by an outstanding manufacturing company that does extremely high quality work. These rings are machined out of aluminum, then highly polished, and then go through a process called hard coat anodizing. People really don't understand what hard coat anodizing is. It goes through an acid bath with electricity, and a chemical process takes place where this black surface is adhered to the ring and actually penetrates down into the aluminum. To get this black coating off, you would have to gouge away or wear away the aluminum. Now, that black coating, which I should not call it a coating, but they do call it hard coat, that hard coat makes aluminum about as strong as hardened tool steel. So you have the lightweight of aluminum and you have the strength of steel. It also makes the surface extremely slippery for low friction. Okay. Hey everyone, let me try to run through just a real quick video of the X-rigging ring slings, some different applications, and just general use. And I'll try to run through it fast to keep your attention span so you can watch this. Our common configuration of one of the X-rigging rings is a large spliced eye. Now on the label we'll have the different safety working loads, and on the other end you'll have an X-rigging ring. The simplest application for setting it up is choking it on a stem. This chase sleeve is maneuverable, okay? So slide the chase sleeve where the point of contact is going to be in the choke if you want to be nicer to your slings. And this is an X-rigging ring in a choking configuration. Now, the hole is made, of course, for your rigging line to run up through. Okay? You can use this for multiple redirects in a tree, so you can use your tree structure to its advantage to strengthen that structure. Do not use a single ring as your main rigging point. If you guys are used to using carabiners and stuff like that are hard on the rope, a single ring is going to be a lot nicer than that. But we're recommending, if you're going to use this as a top rigging point with any kind of significant weight, that you use a 3-ring configuration, and I'll get into that. Anyway, use this for multiple rigging points throughout your tree. You can use it for fishing pole technique, which is something that you're rarely going to need. It's more so on a arced or bent tree that you're going to use the fishing pole. It works better that way. It pulls the bow into place better when you use multiple points. But there's going to be situations where you have a big storm damaged tree laying up in some other trees. You have 2 skinny trees for your rigging points, and that whole big tree is loose, and you know you can't get up there and section it out. You need to lower the whole tree, and you got maybe a nice driveway underneath. You can set up multiple rigging points on your 2 skinny trees and maybe release that big storm damaged tree, and these guys can handle it. You're not going to have a climber on a thin little tree and pushing that tree to the point of where it needs the fishing pole effect. People, don't get me wrong, on a fishing pole effect on a straight spar, that's going to be for you know, severe cases where you're pushing things. That multiple rigging points are going to strengthen that and possibly keep it from breaking that spar. But you get into stuff like this and people just, anyway, I won't get into that. Okay, so there's multiple sling lengths. So if you wanted to choke around a tree and say this one didn't quite make it, this tree was too fat and you couldn't make it, they're color coded. The red one's the shortest one, the green one's a little longer. So if this tree was larger diameter, you might go with the green one. You can see how much longer it is. And we even have longer lengths, which are orange. Now, on longer lengths, let's move up to the next one. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, we got the green one. It's a little longer. Let's put that around the tree. And let's say this one is the only one that you own in your company. You only own one and you own this green one. And you wanted this thing choked around the tree, but you wanted that ring up near the tree. All right, this is too long, okay? So, what I've found, and surprisingly works well, it doesn't tend to roll down the tree or roll out, is you can do wraps, okay? Now think about, is this going to be getting pulled downward? Is it going to be pulling upward? Because that's going to matter. If it's going to have a chance in the system to be pulled downward, then you want to spin the wraps in a way so that when they pull, the sling tries to roll up the tree. All right, let's say this is going to be pulled downward. So we got to redirect or something, and this is going to be being pulled downward. I'm going to take the sling and wrap it from the top down. 1, 2, 3. Looks like we can go 4 to get nice and tight. Now, do you see how these are spun? Let me zoom in on the camera here. You see how they're spun there? Okay? What happens when I pull on this? They're going to want to spin and try to roll that sling up the tree. Now you might lose one spin or so on heavy weights, but I've actually, with adding other rings to it, I've had this set up and negative blocked logs off, and this thing surprisingly stays put. It doesn't slide down the tree. I was very, very surprised how well this works. But you see how I pull on this? This thing tries to run up the trunk a little bit, and the pulling down tries to go down, so they kind of equalize each other. This works surprisingly well. All right. So that was how you adjust the sling to be up, the ring to be up tighter next to the trunk if your sling's a little bit too long. Now let's jump up to the next size. Let's take an orange one. All right. Okay, let's take an orange sling, and this one happens to be the stable braid. We do have one in 10X also that's orange, and they're exactly the same length. These are our longest one with the eye and a ring. All right. With a longer sling, it's, in my opinion, even easier to adjust the length. I'm going to take that chafe sleeve with me. I'm going to take it up with me because it's the final point of contact that gets the most pressure. Now look how long that is, all right? That's crazy long. You don't want that. You want this up against a tree? Fine. Go around a tree again. with a marl or a 1/2 inch. All right, and now look, I'm using the length of the tree to adjust. Okay, I put that chafe sleeve right there, and now I have my ring close. If the greatest chance of this being pulled is down, I'm going to set it up like this. If there's a greater chance of pulling the ring upward, I'm going to put this whole thing above it. All right, very, very easy to adjust length to get this up near the stem when you have a long length. Now, with the stable braid, you can make additions to it, and I'll probably should get into that on another one, but you can take our loop rings. This is the smaller ring on here, 20 by 14, and this is for use in 28 by 20. The numbers on the rings correspond to the hole. That's the first number. 28 is the hole size, which is 28 millimeter. The second number is 20. That is the groove size. This one says 20 by 14, 20 millimeter hole, 14 millimeter groove. All right, I can take this and we can simply go around, and I'm going to go around twice in this case, and let's get it up here about the length of this other one. Okay, I added one loop ring to it. Now I'm going to add another one. There's a lot of ways you can be creative on how to add extra rings with these loops. All right, now we've got 3 rings. All right, now let's put that here. We have 3 rings there. We have greatly increased our bend radius, plus dissipating more heat. That's one way you could add and make 3 rings out of something. You can terminal rig with 3 rings. I've done really big weights actually with 3 rings, and they do surprisingly well.
Let it run after it comes off.
Okay.
Run,
now,
run.
What can you do?
Nice job on a run.
If you didn't have a stable braid, can you add these loops? Can you add the loops to a 10x sling? We haven't been doing it very long, but I did block down some pretty good sized tulip logs the other day, and this worked really, really well. You got your single red sling, okay? Let's say it was a good size diameter. Slide that chafe sleeve up. Say it was a nice size diameter to use. I found that you can add these guys. I haven't been using this a whole lot like my other systems, but so far it's worked out nicely. I'm going to go around here and cinch this guy up to the length of pretty much the way it was with the ring coming through. I put it on one leg of the eye there. You don't really want to be pulling on a single leg, I don't think. I'm going to put the other one on the other side. Now, we're using pretty big 10x material because this is rope rigging, guys. If you're rigging down stuff, at least if I'm rigging down stuff, it's pretty heavy stuff. Alright, so now I got this one on there. I'm going to throw it around the tree. And I'm going to send that through there. So now we're in choking configuration still, so it's gonna cinch up really, really nice when you put weight on it. And now we have 3 rings, okay? You can negative block, you can cut a notch, and you can block down this log using this system. I've done it and it works really well. It doesn't move down the trunk. Another thing here, since I added a big ring loop and I added a small ring loop, you could send a ball up if you needed to for some reason. Let's see what happens. Let's see here. I haven't actually done it. I haven't tried to retrieve it using it this way. Let me grab a ball. All right, I'm going to trail this little plastic ball behind this size line. Okay, I'm going to trail it behind there. And let me zoom in case you want to see it a little better. All right, I'm pulling it up. Hey, it went through that, going through that big ring, going through the next one. And actually, this is maximum size rope for this small ring. This is 5/8 inch rope. The tie is actually grabbing it instead of the ball. You keep pulling. Hey, works pretty nice. Okay. Now, we also, you won't see it listed yet, but we also are making 2 versions in the adjustable type of sling, sometimes referred to as a whoopee in this industry. Because of nice properties of 10X, it's a hollow braid, and you can make adjustable whoopee. They're very easy to make. They take a lot of cordage, but I thought people would make them on their own, but some people just want to buy them the way they are. So we're going to have 2 versions available right out of the box that are already made up for you. And if you're not familiar with the adjustable sling, which a lot of you are, I'll show you how to use it. It has a really thick tail that's going to prevent it from ever coming out through there. So it's also choking configuration, okay? Boom, looks like I adjusted it right the first time. I folded it over, and I'd probably take the tail here and use it up. Okay, we have made it adjustable for that size stem right away. You can use it on tiny little trees. You can use it on bigger ones. We're going to have available 2 different size 10X versions. You can make this thing really long. This is the longest that you can make it. And you can see that size difference. Alright. Now, look what you got here. You could easily add 2 of the loop. You could add 2 of the loops to this and make a triple ring that's adjustable very easily. And you could use that for your top main rigging point. You could use that for your terminal rigging point. As long as you have 3 rings, I'm saying you can do it. And follow the safe working loads on the slings. They tell you what the safe working load limits are. Okay. We also have, these guys are dirty because we were using them a lot at work. We also have an X rigging ring on a piece of 10X 3/4 stainless with nothing on the other end. These guys can be tied around the tree. You can tie running bowlines right here and tie this off. Keep in mind knots. Knots are going to reduce your strength a bit. Sometimes up to 50%, depending on what sling material it is. But we have the short one, and we have really long version. The short one I think is like 4 or 4.5 feet. The long one is a 25 footer. And these long guys are great for floating a redirect rigging point out from a base of a tree, pulling another tree over, and you want to get it out from your anchor tree far. That's nice for that, for a redirect for that. I've been using them a lot on vertical speed lines and near vertical speed lines. I hope to show you some video on that. I think these would be great for people blocking down, chunking down big diameter pieces of wood, and say you have a slope and you don't want these logs hitting the ground and then bouncing down a slope. You can set up a vertical speed line to the base of the tree and have these tied off to your logs. Push the log off, boom, log drops, hits the ground near the base of the tree and stays put. Okay, that's what a vertical speed line is. Don't mix up vertical speed line and near vertical speed line with actual long semi-horizontal speed lines. You don't want to be dropping weights, big weights, into a regular long distance speed line. You want near vertical, which is slightly out from the tree, or vertical straight down. Then there's very little load being put on the tree that you're rigging out of. Okay. Let me go into the triple ring next, and show you a little bit about this triple ring. I love it. It's a beautiful thing. I keep one on my saddle all the time now. All right, I keep it on my large carrier tool. It fits in there nicely, and I keep a little extra D-ring I'll show you, and a little plastic ball on that, and I can make it retrievable.
There you go. It's on the cell phone.
All right. Okay.
Going through.
Here's a triple ring.
All right.
All the rings are the exact same size. Let me see if I hit the camera there. No, we're good. All of the rings are exactly the same size. They take up to, I recommend up to 7/8 inch rope. That's what we used on the eucalyptus in California. These suckers, you can take up to 7/8 inch rope, and they stay surprisingly very cool. These guys are set up not for choking. There's no eye to run this thing through. They're not set up for choking. They're set up for crotches. All right, I'm putting the chafe sleeve back in there in the middle of the crotch. And let me grab my rigging rope. Okay, here's my rigging rope. And this is how it runs. In our severe brake testing, we found when we were trying to break the rigging rope that the triple rings was no longer breaking the rigging rope at the ring. The single rings, we were breaking the rigging rope at the single ring. That's why I'm saying do not use terminal rigging as a single ring, please. When you pull on these guys, I can't quite pull hard enough, but since they are sling material, they do adjust. And here, if you look at it under load, it's going to look like this under load. The outside ones are going to taper in, and the inside one's going to pull up a little bit, and it's going to be displacing that load on 3 rings and improve the bend ratio. Now, they're all 3 the same size, so you can't retrieve this like that. if you want to retrieve this, you can find some items. This guy is a little tiny D-ring. Okay, it is actually black hard coat anodized. It's not going to be as tough as a rigging ring, but and I add a little piece of cordage on it. Another thing that works is those brass snaps that we use on our chainsaw lanyards. I don't have one right here, but that works real nice too. Let me zoom in on the triple rigging ring to show you what's going on here. Okay, I'm going to take this little addition, and you can find, you look through your hardware, you might have something. If you don't have something like this, we could sell you one, certainly. They don't cost hardly anything. So, but anyway, I'm going to take that and I'm going to add it to one of these legs. I'm just going to hitch it here. I'm just going to take that D-ring and hitch it to one of those legs, and I want it long enough where this thing can float around where the rope's going to be running through. Now, I found it's important is use the two rings to your advantage to keep this guy in check, okay? And what I mean is that, put them between the two rings. Here's my rigging line, putting it through the first ring, putting it through that little D ring. Find hardware that runs on that line nicely but is smaller than the rigging ring, okay? Find some hardware that runs, now this is 5/8 inch rope. Okay, this thing works so well. I use it all the time with that little D-ring. All right, now when I'm finished with the triple ring and I want to retrieve it, and man, I use it all the time with I keep it on my saddle, and if I'm just going to rig out two limbs over there and then I'm going to be in another part of the tree, I don't have to go back and get this. And the nice thing about this is it's so light that I don't feel I need to follow it up with a throw line like when I'm retrieving a big block. All right, so boom, I added that to the end of the bull rope. Pull it super tight, and I'm in the other part of the tree and I'm retrieving it. Goes through that ring, gets caught on the D-ring, and the cordage again is grabbing the D-ring. If I pull real hard, okay, if I pull real hard, it caught the D-ring, see that? And I pull it out. It's so light, figures I pick a tight V crotch. It's so light that in most cases, unless there's concrete below or something like that, if it's just some turf or some ground cover, I pull this thing out. I'll be honest, I pull it out without lowering it down with the throw line. If you want to be nicer to it, then follow it up with some throw string, like you know when you retrieve something that you don't want to hit the ground. It works really good, really, really good. We've done some heat tests with dropping a log really, really fast and a long distance. And we took heat readings on the triple rings, and they stay surprisingly cool. Here comes the cat trying to get into the film again, like always. On our heat testing with the laser thermal thermometer, the highest reading we could find on these rings was 105 degrees Fahrenheit. I believe 10X does not degrade, I'm not talking melting now, it does not degrade until about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why we went with 10X over Dyneema. Dyneema degrades at 150, if I'm correct in that. 10X does not melt until 550 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. People say 10X is a low temperature material, but I don't think that's low temperature. I think Dyneema is low temperature melting point, but that's why we have 10X on our X rigging rings. Okay, so I hope that gave you a little bit of idea of what's going on with these rigging rings, and maybe I'll add a few little working video clips to this. And I'm going to put out a video showing more explained use on each one of the different sling configurations and show you some working with it. But right now I'm just getting at this short video right now to help you understand what the X rigging rings are. And remember, don't rig off of a single ring, use it for redirects. If you're going to be using these as your terminal rigging point, set up a 3-ring system or use this triple ring. And again, the triple ring is not for choking, it's for crotches. You can set up triple rings using other methods to make them choke if you want a triple ring for your terminal rigging point. Anyway, you guys keep working smart and safe, and I put these out here in the arborist industry to help people to rig smarter, safer, with less money into your system. Thank you, and take care, guys.